Kia ora, welcome to another episode of the podcast. I'm sitting here again with my friend
Mitch,
and we hope you enjoy this episode. We're back at it again.
we're on.
Mate, you're the first return guest we've ever had.
Oh, bro, I'm stoked. I'm privileged.
And it's awesome. But there's it wasn't even that long ago that we had you on, but so much has changed. Firstly, the lid.
Yep.
What's going on there?
Oh, the lid's a special occasion for when fight night springs upon us. So, I kind of change my lid every time I fight.
Oh, true.
Just for something different. And, everyone loves it, get a lot of compliments on it. And, people kind of told me to keep doing it. So, I have a lovely lady, Amanda, who does my hair and looks after me in that aspect. So, it's not just the old box dye from the boys. It's actually professionally done.
Yeah,
so,
it's actually a proper platinum-looking colour.
Yeah,
it's not that
platinum.
orange one that people you go for the blonde, but then it ends up coming out like kind of orange.
Yeah, and it's an absolute nightmare, and you usually have to get a buzz cut. But I'm super lucky that she knows what she's doing, and she's really good at what she does. But previously, usually I get it bright colours, but this time I kind of just went neutral. So
sure, no, it looks good, and you rock it.
Yeah, I have to rock it. You got to rock it with it.
Oh, that's true. That's true. You got it. So we were going to do this a while ago, and then it ended up becoming that. This is the week that you're actually going to fight. So in about 2 days, so people listening to this, the fight's already been, but we're talking to you 2 days out from you fighting again.
Yep.
And leading into this, we were going to do this maybe 2 weeks ago, and we'll just talk about your trip through COVID.
Yep.
Because you're prepping for a fight.
Yep.
And in what week of that preparation do you get struck down?
The second week or the week before fight week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get that. And then how was that process going through that?
That was pretty tough because I literally couldn't leave my house.
Yeah.
And I had to cut a lot of weight as well, which was a massive struggle. But I was really looked after during my COVID process with food and everything like that. And I was lucky enough to actually come out the end of COVID the lightest I've ever been and probably the best cut that I've ever been.
Damn.
Yeah, but I wasn't moving, so I was real self-conscious about actually how I was going to go on the night. But the night really didn't go ahead.
Oh right, yeah. So that all. But when you were doing it, was that something that didn't go ahead because you had to call it off because of having COVID, or did something else come in?
Nah, so my opponent had dislocated his shoulder.
Oh shit!
48 hours out from our fight.
Right.
So I had cut all that weight through COVID and didn't get to do what people do during their COVID little holiday and go drink and eat a lot of food. I had to cut a lot of weight and I had to think about the next week and kind of because on fight week you rest.
Yeah.
And I'd already rested that week, and you don't want to stress too much on your body, especially if you're cutting that much weight.
Sure.
It was just super stressful, but at the same time, I was well looked after when I got out of COVID. So I was confident at the same time.
Awesome. And there wasn't anything during it in terms of symptoms or anything that kind of made you feel maybe I should call this off.
I actually got COVID pretty minimal. I wasn't that sick. My partner was more sick at the time. She was quite bad, but I honestly managed to kind of walk away from it being quite unscathed.
Sure.
So super lucky. So that's why I didn't pull myself from that fight, because I kind of knew that my lungs weren't that bad and I hadn't been struck as bad as what people had. So
right.
I was still confident going in it, but at the same time, I hadn't really prepared like I usually do, so I was a little bit nervous.
Yeah, because that's what I was going to get into is you've got a game plan. You kind of know how you're going to go into something, and then you get pretty much just bedridden or you're now confined to these walls for the total amount of days that you have to do. What was the dialogue that you're going through in your head of am I actually going to be okay with this? All those steps.
I didn't know. I didn't know, and me as a person will kind of just go in there and kind of confront the adversity at the time.
Sure.
And I wasn't really thinking about anything else besides being in there, kind of executing the game plan I had in place and just turning up.
Yeah.
I just wanted to turn up and kind of try my best. I didn't want to have COVID and let that kind of not let me compete at my best.
Yep.
And I kind of just shook it to the side and was just ready to go.
That's awesome.
Yeah, ready to turn up.
Yeah, and I think it says a lot about the support crew you have, but also everyone that you have around you, and how you are, I guess, with them, and that's why you had that support when you were going through it. People taking care of you meals-wise, and then probably making sure that the rest of your game plan can actually go ahead, right?
Yeah. And that was the thing. As long as you've got a good crew behind you and they're supporting you in every way, there's people in worse situations than you are.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people don't get that support crew, especially like I do. Like I've got a wonderful support basis, and they were most of the reason why I kind of shook that aside and was so confident about going in to compete.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then, so now you have to come out of it, and then you have to pretty much, dial it right in. You have to get that mindset ready that, you could be going into battle, and then you find out 48 hours, pretty much now in terms of your span for the time of the fight this Friday. Yep. Like, that's the same time frame that you had when someone pulls out. Like, what about that? Does that have anything? Like, is it a relief? Is it frustration? What happens after that?
It is pretty frustrating.
Yeah.
But like, I couldn't really look into it too much. Like, it is what it is in the situation. But like you've just got to keep clear minded and got to think of the positives and not the negatives about the situation.
Awesome. Yeah. And then so you're given this opportunity. But before we get into this prep that you have for this fight coming, in our last episode, that was only a couple of months ago, and you said in that you wanted to get another 4 or 5 fights under your belt.
Yep.
In the time that, before this year is out. We've got a couple of months left, and as far as I'm aware, you've almost done that or have done that.
Clock that.
You've got that.
Yeah. So, initially I've been scheduled for 4, but I fought 3.
Right.
The one that they pulled out on me, that was the one that I was prepping for when we last had a chat.
Yep.
And that fell through. And I was really gutted about that one actually falling through, to be honest, because I prepared so hard for that fight. Like the weeks leading up to when I got COVID, like I don't think I had trained as hard as I had trained before.
Shit.
And that reason being actually because I just lost before that for my first time, which I wanted to touch on first off. Like, we went to Dubai on 2 days' notice, 3 days' notice, and kind of got sprung upon this opportunity to go over there and compete as Oceania, sorry.
Yeah.
And it was like a world tournament.
Shit.
So it was honestly it was the most full-on federation that I've fought in. And like my coach had asked me on, I think it was the Wednesday.
Sure.
And he said that, you're qualifying for the top welterweight in Oceania, and it's all clear if you want to compete. Like, since we had got told on such short notice, like it had been all expenses paid for.
Right.
And the reason being why it was such short notice is because Ukraine and Russia had pulled out of the tournament.
Right. Yes.
And we hadn't qualified for that, but them being taken away from the equation, we had qualified.
Sure.
So they were kind of just trying to scope the most athletes together and put them as one. It was us and Australia formed a team. Yep. And went over there and basically got one of the biggest experiences of my life.
Yeah, that's unreal. So that was that the one? Was it the Bahrain?
The Bahrainian one.
Yeah. How cool. So tell us more about that. So what was the lead-in time? So you get told on a...
I got told on the Wednesday.
Yeah.
And then we were in Dubai by Saturday.
Holy shit.
Yeah. It was fucking hectic, man. But like, once given the opportunity, it was like, you couldn't say no.
Yeah.
You couldn't say no. I hadn't had a camp for it, but like I'd always been training consistently anyway, so I was prepared for it, but probably not at my best. But fighting upper weight as well kind of gave me the easy track and not cutting weights.
Not have to cut. Yeah.
So I would have been feeling good no matter what. And then went over there. It was the first time I'd ever flown 21 hours.
Sure.
22 hours.
Yeah.
And it was the most hectic thing. But the body was not prepared for it at all.
Right.
And like I was in the airplane and I actually had to go kind of take a picture of myself in the mirror.
Yeah.
Just to like kind of tap myself on the shoulder and realize like this is real.
Yeah.
Because like being in the plane for that long, it was like, fuck, like does life even exist?
For sure, yeah.
Especially not experiencing that at all. And then having in the back of your mind, like you're going to compete as well as like having doing all the travel. So the experience was nuts. Like even the leading up to it, like the person who sponsors the tournament was the Prince of Bahrain.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So like everything about it was like from the moment we had walked in was like professional. Yeah. Fully professional. The hotel we were staying at was beautiful. Yeah. The nicest place I've ever stayed. All you can eat buffet. Like the place was legit. Yeah. Like it was fully legit. So I felt super grateful being able to get the opportunity to go in there and like experience all that stuff. Yeah. But it wasn't a holiday because we had to compete. Yeah. And that was all right. Like I wasn't too nervous about the situation, like probably which wasn't the best thing.
Right.
Because like I'm nervous as I'm scared before every fight I have.
Yeah.
But like I feel like that's where I kind of compete at my best.
Right.
And being in the environment of like being in Bahrain and having probably the most top level guy compete against in whatever country that we're coming from, and we happened to draw Ireland on our first day. So this competition was a little bit different. We didn't compete as individuals in this one. We had to compete as a team. So
like points that you gather towards your whole country?
Yeah, bro. Yeah. So it was a different format, and it was the first time they'd ever done it.
Right.
So it was a different experience. So we drew Ireland, and we all kind of studied our opponent on the night.
Right.
And we're studying our opponents in our room, and I just happened to draw a killer, Like, he was a fucking nuts dude, bro. Like, I was watching his highlight reels and shit like that, and he'd got, like, some pretty decent finishes. Like, he was knocking people out.
Yep.
He was putting people to sleep.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, fuck. I was like, fuck it. Like, I can't look past this or anything like that. I've just got to show up and just make sure I land before he does.
Yeah.
And, I just had to grow confidence.
Yep.
Like, I had to go in there and I had to put my fucking best foot forward, and I didn't do that. Right. So we rock up on the day. The morning comes, and like I'm extremely nervous, and like everything's coming together. Sure. And being in a different environment and all that. It was actually my first time ever second time fighting away from Dunedin.
Yeah.
Fought in Auckland and fought all my fights in Dunedin, but having my first international fight.
Sure.
Was unreal. But at the same time, I had a job to do.
Yep.
And we woke up in the morning, mentally prepared ourselves for the fight. Like I was feeling good at the time. I was actually feeling really confident. And then we rock up to the venue, and the venue's out the gate, bro. Yeah. Like it's like flashing lights, like huge cage in the arena. Like it was the biggest arena like I've ever fought in. And I was like, fuck, sweet. Like I'm grateful to be here, and I'm fizzing to get started. So we walk into the change rooms, and we all get kitted out because we all got to wear this buzzy kit that the Prince of Bahrain likes us to be in.
Sick.
Because like he's up the top watching like all the fights. And
he wants to see the spectacle of it.
Yeah, bro. He's brought all this together.
Yeah.
So he wants to see some dudes get fucked up. Like, that's what he loves martial arts. So he plays a huge role in that, and so we get ready, and so from different weight categories, from the lightest to the heaviest, go out first.
Yep.
And we got like these big plasmas out back as well that we're like watching.
So you can watch
watching our teammates compete, and like everyone starts rolling out, bro, and everyone's just like kind of like focusing on themselves.
Yeah.
There's not just like a team around one fighter getting them prepared for this fight.
Yeah.
Everyone's just fucking trying to G themselves up.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we're watching on TV, and we're like, fuck, like go, like, and then they win, lose, we're like shit, and then you're kind of thinking like, I'm going to be on that screen soon.
Yeah.
Like hopefully I get out there and you make the team proud, because every time we were winning, the team was like G'ing each other up.
Yeah, for sure.
And like that's different because martial arts is usually it's just you go out there and you celebrate with your team, but like there's about 10 to 12 of us who are all cheering each other on.
Yeah.
We needed each other to win, and my time came up, and I rolled out, and two fighters had to wait in the corridor with each other.
Okay.
Until the next fight had finished.
Right.
So I was out there, and so was the guy I was fighting.
Yeah.
And we were just like eyeing each other up. Like I was looking at him, and he was looking at me, and there was no one else out there besides us two.
You're right.
So and it was just really unfortunate enough that the fight before us went the distance.
Oh gosh, so you had a long time.
Yeah, bro, we had to stay out there for ages, and that's uncommon because like usually when you're fighting, one person goes, and then you have your song, and then they have their song. Sure. You do not see each other. The only time you see each other is weigh-ins.
Yeah.
But me and this guy were like straight kicking it beforehand, and he was like, I was like sizing him. He was like, oh, what's your game plan? And I was just like, fuck, like. I didn't even say anything. I was just like, I'm not good for this chat right now. I'm just keen to punch you in the face. Yeah. You're probably just as keen to punch me in the face. And then we roll out. You didn't get to pick any music. Like you just roll out of what they pick.
Sure.
Get your Vass in and go in, and then he follows, and we're both in the cage at the same time and ready to go. And I just wasn't there, eh?
Ah.
Like it was the first time I just had felt like nothing had really clicked from the moment go.
Sure.
I kind of had this game plan in my head and was a little bit too scared to execute it.
Right.
And then I shot in on him. He reversed it, gave me a few knees, and then ended up TKOing me.
Right.
Quite viciously with some ground and pound.
Yeah.
Had a few strikes to the head, and the ref pulled him off me. And yeah, it was the first time I had lost in the sport.
Yeah.
Away from the family, away from home, and just in a different environment. So and slightly concussed.
Yeah. Damn. Because I remember the last time we were talking, and you said that you remember the first time you fought in Auckland, and it was like that was the first time you'd walked out where like no one was cheering you, no one was like cheering or anything because you were opposition now.
Yeah.
And then that feeling to like take it even further away where there's no one who knows you besides your team, but they're all in the back, like no one's watching you come out. And then I know one of the things that you talk about often is when you start to feel like you may lose. There's a lot of things that are happening in your head. You know, you're starting to think of your family, you're starting to think of your friends, and you're like, I'm letting them down.
Yep.
Did that same thing like occur to you, like before, during, or after the fight?
Oh, it was kind of like after the fight a wee bit, but at the same time, at the venue you had no data or reception or anything, so I couldn't even reach out to my family or anything like that. So after I had suffered the loss, I went and got a medical attention, and they basically said I was concussed, and you got a head knock, and like basically watch yourself. And I felt it too because it had been one of the first times I'd been properly concussed.
Shit.
And like stuff started spinning in the room once I was out the back, because I just went straight out the back and watched all the rest of my team fight.
Yeah.
And basically like I sat down and like the room was just spinning.
Yeah.
Like it was just like spinning, and then I was on my phone and I couldn't reach out to my family, and then like as I was spinning around the room, I was like, I let my family down, I let everyone down, and I was just like, I wasn't in a really good place. Not being able to talk to anyone, not seeing anyone, and everyone else around me like ready to compete, either won or lost. So like there were so many mixed emotions around the room.
Of course, yeah.
And I was just at the bottom of it. So, but like it was what it was. Like that's just the nature of the sport.
Yeah.
And I just unfortunately had to find that out in quite a shit way. But yeah, I
mean, because like it's one of those bittersweet things. Like you got to go to Dubai, and you got to compete like internationally. I know, and then because you can look at everything. You can look at the prep time that you actually had to be able to do it, and you can think about like what you traveled. You got there on a Saturday, and then when were you fighting?
On the Monday.
Yeah, exactly. So like most people will like have a week or so to adapt to the climate and like get over jet lag, all that sort of stuff. It's like you can think about that sort of stuff, but then at the same time, like you're like, I'm in a different country, this is cool, but then you're like, I just suffered my first loss. So like for you to balance that all, like you had plenty of time, I guess, on the plane ride back as well to think about it, and then you've got your support system in place. But for you, like was there like what were the nastiest thoughts, I guess, that you had, and then how did you overcome those?
Just like when I was out the back at that point in time, I was contemplating if the sport was really for me.
Really, yeah.
Just suffering that and experiencing going out there and getting that feeling where nothing clicked.
Yeah.
I just thought that it was going to be impossible to bounce back from.
Sure.
Especially like being so high on the sport, being on a win streak, and then copping a loss like that, and like I had spoken previously, like I didn't have a team to blame it on. I didn't have anyone else to blame it on. So like, I just bottled it all up and just felt so shit about it, and kind of was hard to get back to training. It was hard to do anything. It was kind of hard to see that I had any future in the sport after experiencing that. And yeah, like it was just. It wasn't traumatic. I wouldn't say it was traumatic, but like it was just a really shit time, especially coming off like such highs in the sport.
For sure.
And then everyone always saying like there is a highs and lows in the sport, and I always thought like the lows must not be that bad.
Yeah,
like, they must not be that bad. But they were bad.
Right,
they were bad. But I just didn't really know what to do when I got home with the sport, because I couldn't spar or couldn't do anything because I had concussion.
You had to get over that concussion, yeah.
And then they had a fight night lined up within 4 or 5 weeks. And I didn't know if I wanted to do it. I really wasn't sure because I couldn't spar either. So I would have had to have a camp where I couldn't spar.
Right.
Which is quite difficult. And I kind of thought to myself and kind of basically told myself to harden up and like, you know, you're not going to drop the sport. You're going to give it another crack.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you go into like, it took a couple of days to blow over and kind of, it made me realize what I wanted to do. So I went to the coach and I was like, put my name forward for that fight night.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, I want to get over this.
Yeah.
I want to win again. I don't want to feel like this because like, I felt like losing that fight, walking around and carrying it with me, and I just kind of felt like a loser.
Sure.
So I put my name forward for that for the next fight, and managed. I got that mixed up. That was my first fight, and the second fight was the one that I got COVID.
Yeah.
And he had pulled out on me.
Yeah.
So I prepared for that fight, and then on 48 hours
That's
notice,
right.
I'd got him pulled out.
Yeah.
So that was a huge blow to me.
Yeah.
Like because like I said, I had trained so hard for that camp, and like honestly put all my eggs into one basket. Like went through an emotional roller coaster. Almost coming to tears at training at times, just because I trained so hard and I was exhausted. And getting that fight taken away from me was like one of the biggest blows I've ever had in my life.
Shit.
And like no one kind of understands because it's just like that's the nature of the sport. People pull out, people get injured and stuff like that. But it was just the circumstances where I was at with the sport.
Yeah.
Was like I'd lost again.
Right.
Because I had so much support coming that night. I had a lot of people backing me, and like I had a lot of people inside my circle knowing how much adversity I was trying to get over for this.
Sure.
So I was more than prepared to get out there that night and tried to get back into the win column. But he pulled out on me.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was shit. But at the same time, like back to the drawing board, some would say.
Yeah. So did you feel like that fight almost kind of like gave you a bit of a lifeline? Like that was the thing that you were really looking forward to, just like remind yourself of who you are and who you've built yourself up to be?
Yeah, and it took me so long during that camp to kind of find that.
Right.
Like, the camp went for 6 weeks, and it was probably about 4 of those weeks where I was just like, am I going to win this? And if I lose this, where do I go from here?
Right.
Having 2 losses in a row would suck, especially coming off like such high in the sport. And then it came to like the last 2.5 weeks, where it was just like, I've got to do this.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I've got to do this for me. I've got to do this for my family. I've got to do it like, yeah. And mainly me, really. Like I just wanted to prove to myself that like I can overcome adversity and I can build character, and you know, I can really do this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool, man. So like, so after that one, and then you fought a couple of times so now you have had another one?
Yeah, so from that Dubai one, and then to the one that I had the lad pull out on me.
That's right.
And then I had prepared, what did I prepare? I prepared 5 weeks for another opportunity I got given in Brisbane.
Yeah, right. Let's go.
So after that had been pulled out on me, I was gutted. Got on the piss for a couple of weeks, and was like, "Fuck! Like, you know, am I gonna have fun, or like, am I gonna get back to training and like and do this? Because like, fuck, another 8 week camp would like maybe for no fight again.
Yeah.
And imagine that. Like, I've wasted all that time. Not really wasted actually, because like I've been getting better as a martial artist.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like, you know, the icing on the cake at the end of the day is to compete.
For sure.
And I just hadn't been given that.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, I'll do it. And it was lucky enough that I was representing New Zealand on this one.
Awesome.
So this one was a massive card over in Brisbane. It was a 4-man tournament.
Yeah.
And it was me, another Kiwi from Hamilton, it was a Tahitian, and a boy from Brisbane.
Damn, yeah.
So we were all competing for gold to take out the Oceania champs,
Right.
and I had 5 weeks to prepare for it. And this training camp was a bit difficult. I really just kind of put my best foot forward with this one.
Yeah.
I just turned up to training. I turned up, and I was so nervous because, like, rather than just being in a fight in my home crowd and, like, you know, having all of that behind me, instead of trying to get back into the win column, I'm going over to Brisbane and fighting in a 4-man tournament.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck, what if I lose the first day? Like,
Right.
you know, and I have to dwell on it and watch, you know, the two compete the next day. And, like, I was just real flustered on this one. But
Sure.
I was like, fuck, like, I know if I go over and I, you know, train hard and bring the best version of myself over there, I was like, I reckon I could take it out.
Yeah.
And that's what I said. And at the time, I had my training partner with me, Kasib, who's kind of been with me through all out my career.
Right.
And he's a really motivating guy. Like he's so savage. Like he's slick. He's good at everything he does. And having him there, I kind of knew that I was like, you know, if I can go over there and compete with this guy,
Yeah.
you know, I'll do well. If I go over there and do the things that he does, and you know, and follow him, and you know. Yeah, everything will go well. And he's on a 5-fight winning streak as well. He fought in Dubai and got the win. So congrats to him. So like he's good, man. And and that's what we did. Like we finished camp and then we rolled over to Brisbane. I was cutting about 8 kgs.
Jeez.
So everything about that trip from Dunedin to Brisbane was traumatic.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't eat. Like even the air hostess was like giving us like food. They were like, yeah, and I was like, I literally can't eat any of this.
Yeah.
I can't drink any water. I was like, fuck, like, I was so nervous, because, and the thing about this tournament that we were fighting on as well was same day weigh-ins.
Damn.
And I'd never done that before.
Yeah, so you like usually get the chance to get a little bit of fluid in.
Get your glucose, get your electrolytes, and fill yourself back up with food. But this one we had 3 hours.
Shit.
So on top of this, I was stressing out about absolutely everything. Like the weight cut, the plane, the fighting 2 guys in 2 days. Yeah. But I was like, I love this sport. So like, you know, I'm gonna do what I need to do, and then fucking I'll get in there, and if I lose, I lose, and I win. Yeah. And that's the kind of mindset I changed, rather than always being like, I gotta win. I gotta win. I was like, fuck it, like win, lose, as long as I show up and fucking compete at my best. And so like when we did land over there, we got over there, slept for one night, and then I think we did the weigh-ins on that day that we got in.
Right.
Oh, no. We stayed that night, and then the next day we had our weigh-ins, and it was all go from there.
Yeah.
So I'd managed to cut the weight, and I had 3 or 2.5 kgs to drop, and I went into the sauna that night, and all the athletes that were competing were staying at the one hotel. Yeah. So this is another case. This is another like shit case, but in the sauna was the guy I was fighting. Yeah, sure. And he was good. He was on a 5-fight tear up in Hamilton, and like he was kind of dominating the amateur lightweight scene up there. Right. So and I managed to draw him first. Yeah. So I was super nervous, got into the sauna, kind of eyeing him up. He was eyeing me up. We were cutting the same amount of weight as well. And it was just weird. Like, it was just awkward. Yeah. Like, because he didn't want to lose. Like, he wanted to win.
Of course,
And I genuinely thought that he was going to, like, take out the... Shit. Well, I thought that he thought he was going to.
Oh, right.
And I kind of, like, I wasn't doubting my skill set, but at the same time, I was like, he's had a good... like few finishes, like he's young and he's on a tier, so I just came off my tier and I'm looking to get back on it. Right. Like, you know, we both had something to fight for. Sure. And he looked good, like he was in great shape, taekwondo background, great striker, and I was basically just had to fucking get myself prepared for it by looking at him. Yeah. And I was just looking at him. I was like, "Fuck, you know, I reckon I have you." Yeah.
So wait, you're in a hallway with like an Irish dude who also wants to fight you, and you're in there for an entire length of a fight.
That was so awkward.
So you're in a small place, but now you're hopping into a sauna where it's super hot. It's uncomfortable anyway. You're trying to cut weight. You're in the worst, like, the most stressed position of your life, because you're like, you still have to fight, you need to drop this weight, you feel shit, and then you have to sit across from this guy or next to this dude. Like, what is it like?
It's weird, eh? Like, it's so hard to explain, because like it's weird being in a room which like you're gonna assault each other, or you're gonna fight each other, essentially, and like really try to finish each other, but at the same time, like, you can't do that yet. Yeah. But you're in the same room. Yeah. So it's just like, that's kind of the dividing line between being like professional and, you know, being just a fighter. Sure. Just to kind of to soak all that in, ignore that, and go out there and do the sport. Yeah. Not just fight, not go out there and swing for the heavens, but like compete in martial arts. Yeah. So I learnt that a lot. I learnt that twice this year. And it was... yeah, like, it's so I'm trying to describe the feeling, but like, I've never felt anything like it before.
Yeah.
But the second time was better because he was actually like he was a good dude.
Sure.
The first time was just a bit shit because like my guy was like didn't even want to fucking know me.
Right.
I knew he was like keen to punch on. But this other guy was actually quite nice, and we had a yarn in the sauna and was just like, good luck, bro. Like, well done, and not well done yet, but like, fucking can't wait.
Yeah.
And so after that, we woke up the next day. I was fucking feeling like shit because I was 68.9 kgs.
Right.
Which is about 10 or 11 kgs off what I walk around.
Damn.
And like I'm usually fucked even getting the 24 hours to rehydrate and refeed when I cut down to 70. And just knowing that I got to do it in 3 hours, I was stressing out. But like the thing that really got me through the whole weight cutting and the whole nerves and stuff like that was my support system. Again, like everyone was just backing me. Like everyone was just sending me such nice messages, and like everyone was just being so lovely. So like I kind of took away the aspect of just like fighting, and like I kind of just wanted to go fight for the people who support me, and just really thought deep down on who the ones who have been with me through this journey and stuff like that, and kind of always had their best interests with me, and I just didn't want to let them down this time.
Yeah.
Like I didn't let them down essentially the last time, but like I didn't come back with the win.
Sure.
And like I just didn't want to come back to Dunedin not a winner.
Yeah.
And it was just a really tough mindset that like I've learned a lot from and kind of made me a better person in a way. But back to where I was when I woke up. Waited, and then what was my first meal? I had packed a lunch.
Yeah.
So I went to the supermarket night prior, packed a lunch, and then I have had a massive obsession with Biscoff lately. Like I promoted it holy shit. I promoted it everywhere. Like I've always put it on my Snapchat story and stuff like that, and just said like it's the best fucking thing ever.
Yeah. Because there's the Biscoff biscuit, but then they also have the spread.
The spread, the spread. And I bought a jar of Biscoff and I bought a loaf of bread. Yeah. This is all I did, bro. It was hoary as fuck. And I just basically half a tub of, maybe 3/4 or maybe the full thing of Biscoff and put it into one sandwich.
Oh, damn.
Bro, and I cut up 2 bananas and put it on top. So I had to you couldn't even call it a sandwich. Like it was just some fucking big molded up thing together. And I didn't even have any Glad wrap, just like put it in handy towels and put it in my bag. Went and weighed in. Stepped on the scale, and I wasn't even thinking about the fight at the time. I was thinking about the Biscoff sandwich. Chowed down the Biscoff sandwich, and basically like, oh no shit, you're not. That thing got me so ready to compete that day.
That's weird, eh? Like when you're in that state, like the types of things that bring you joy. It's like you could think about all these other things, but you're like, nah, that Biscoff's in my bag right now.
Yeah, and that's all I was thinking. And like as soon as I had ate that Biscoff sandwich, which was honestly, the mouth, I was dribbling eating it, and it was just so amazing. And then I'd finished it, and then I felt like shit. But I was like, I've got no time to feel like shit. Like, I've ate my food. It's giving me my energy sources. I rehydrated. I've done everything that I needed to do to get ready to compete in 3 hours. And yeah, like that day, we basically turned up to the arena, and actually, no, that wasn't a smooth ride to the arena. Talking about it, that I was waiting out the hotel. I quickly ducked to the supermarket just beforehand, and everyone was getting rides to the venue because everyone was rolling in a pack.
Yeah.
And I kind of turned up late to the supermarket because I was on the phone to my mum.
Yeah.
And then kind of lost track of time, and then went back to the hotel, bro, and everyone was gone.
Oh no. No.
And I was like, oh no. Like my heart just sank, and I don't know what to do. And then there was this Uber outside, and he was like, Joe? And I'm like, yeah, I'm Joe.
No way.
I'm Joe. I'm Joe. I gotta go. And I jumped in the Uber and was like, yeah, Joe. And he was like, sweet, like we're off. And I gave him my place, and he was like, sweet as. And then we got halfway there, and he was like, you cancelled the Uber. And I was like, oh no. I was like, no. He's like, and then the first thing he said to me is like, you got cash? And I was like, yeah, I got cash. Like, yeah, if you're going to get me there, I've got cash.
Yeah.
And then ended up giving him, I think I gave him $20, and he was stoked. He was like, I don't care about the ride.
Oh, no way.
And then I was off to the venue, and I was like, sweet as, like, everything's going sweet. Like, everything's just fallen into place here. And then I had one job to do that my coach had told me to do, and it was bring the hip pads.
Oh, no.
Bro, I didn't have the hip pads on me. I was like, I got to fight in 2 hours. I didn't bring the hip pads. I'm stressing out. Like, I'm trying just to get to the venue to get ready to compete. And I was like to Mo, but I was like, man, like, I got to break it to you here. Like, we've got to go back to the hotel. And he was like, honestly, man, like, I'll just do anything to get you to where you need to go.
Oh, my man.
Oh, I was like, bro. He was like, we'll go back. Went back, got the pads, turned up back to the arena all on time. Or not really, I was the last to arrive. But like on my schedule, I was on time.
Sure.
And then, yeah, went to the arena and basically got ready to compete against this boy.
Damn.
Yeah.
That is like, if you think about, like, that's movie type stuff right there. So you're late, and then, like, there just happens to be a car. You have to fake a person, just jump in, do what you have to do. But then that's kind of like, it's almost like a survival instinct, right? Like, you needed to get there.
Yeah.
This is what you needed to do.
It was just not like a normal day. It was like someone was just throwing all these obstacles at me to dodge.
Yeah.
Well on top of me, thinking like I've got to compete and I've got to come over and do what I did, what I needed to do.
Yeah.
And why is this shit happening to me? Like, why can't I just turn up to the venue, get ready for this fight rather than have to go through this movie type stuff? But got to the venue and yeah, it was all good because I yet again had my teammate there, and like not a lot of people had their teammates there because like everyone was scattered around from New Zealand, and it just so happened to be on the day that New Zealand had to fight everyone from New Zealand.
Oh, right.
Because they didn't want two Kiwis to be in the final.
Sure.
So they broke all that up.
Right.
So the tension was quite hot because we'd all stayed with each other and we're all super close to the next day having to fight each other.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, we started warming up. I actually had an amazing warm up. I was feeling so strong, so fit, but I just went into the mentality with this one. I was just like, fuck, I'm ready to die in there. Like I'm literally ready to give it all. I'm not coming home a loser.
Yeah.
I'm not having that roller coaster of emotions again, and I'm not doubting myself in the sport. And that's all I was thinking, and I was just thinking like positive thoughts. I was thinking good thoughts, and it was the first time that I didn't get so nervous walking out.
Right.
And same format. Didn't get any walkout music. Just walkout. It was all professional. Everything was set out. Put the VAS in, got in, and then that was the first ever time that I didn't walk out first.
Right.
So the first ever time I didn't walk out second. I mean, so I walked out first. Sorry.
Right.
And I had to wait for my opponent, which was different for me.
Yeah.
And he rolled in and he looked confident. He looked good to go. And I was like, fuck, like we're on. And we ended up touching gloves and exchanging. I got the better of him on the feet at the start, and then I took him down, and managed to take him down and give him some solid ground and pound, and took away his aspect of game from him, which was standing up, and he was quite known for doing all this like real tricky shit. Right. So I really had to be careful about that, and so I executed my game plan by taking him down and softening him up, and then managed to kind of see out the round, and I was feeling great. Corner gave me some amazing feedback and said, mate, just like keep doing what you're doing. Like, you know, it's working well. And like, I felt stronger than him. So I knew if I took it to that area that I would have won. Yeah. Not would have won, but like I would have, what I was doing was working. Yeah. And the second round was pretty gnarly because we exchanged for a bit, and then I took him down again and executed that. And then I ended up busting his nose on the ground, which was giving me a lot more confidence, knowing that I was touching him up, and everything was working. And like, you know, when your game plan's working and everything's just going great, like while you're in there, like it feels good. It feels good. It feels like you're in control of the fight. And then I managed. I think there was like 15 seconds left in the round, and I let him build himself back up. Sure. When I had taken him down, just so he wasted a lot of energy trying to get back up. Right. Which was just a wee tactic. Yeah. And then he got back up and kind of was quite weak when he got to his feet. So I got around to his back, picked him up, and Matt returned him and dumped him, and he posted on his arm and dislocated his elbow. Oh, shit. Yeah, it was like it was the rankest sound I've ever heard.
Is that the first time you've been in the ring and like done something? Because like, you know, you probably hit people hard in the face, and like, you know, you're busting their face up. You see their eyes start to swell, but like, the actual dislocation of an elbow, like coming down, they're putting their elbow out, landing on it, like Was that the first time you've ever felt like, oh shit, that's not good?
I just didn't know what to think, because like I was so in the zone of like fighting,
of course.
I was just like, and like as soon as I picked him up, I heard it pop. It popped out of the socket. I got up, I looked at him. The elbow was like fucking out there. Like the elbow was like, it was gross.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, win!" I was like, "What's the go from here?" Like, and then like everyone had like stormed in, went to his aid. He got put on the mask, and he got well looked after when he was in the cage. And I was like, and the coach was like, just don't celebrate too much, because like still respect.
Sure,
like, you've got to respect. He's from New Zealand as well, so like don't celebrate too hard. And I was like, sweet. And then the ref was like, winner by TKO.
Second round
TKO. I was like, mean. Like I was fully stoked. Like I was a roller coaster emotion. I'm like, back in the win column. Like I've done it, and like I beat a good dude. Like the guy was on a tear. And like I was just stoked, man. Like I was so happy about that win. Like there was nothing. I can't explain that. Like I was so stoked. I love the sport again. I loved everything. I want, like, everything just came together on that moment. And it wasn't only because like I dislocated his shoulder and like that was the way that fight ended. Like I knew I was winning that fight.
Yeah.
And I felt great in there.
Like all the different aspects that you had, like you felt good, you were breathing well, you felt strong, and in everything that you did in terms of game plan, like actually shutting his game plan down so you can play yours.
Yep.
You managed to like dominate in the time that you were in there. That's awesome. Yeah,
man. And it was like a roller coaster of emotion. I was really happy. And but then what had happened is that the Federation only had one ambulance crew there.
Oh damn.
So they were tending to this guy,
Yeah.
and we're all doing our medical clearances, and then they were like, we can't have another fight. Like we don't have like backup paramedics.
What?
So everyone was like, well, like, what do we do?
So to put it on hold until that crew came back.
So everyone who was supposed to fight after me had to get rescheduled and fight twice in one day.
Oh, that's horrible.
And so the two boys that I was fighting, the winner out of the two that I was going to be fighting the next day were fighting straight after me.
Sure.
So that means
the first of the next day.
So they had to fight. They had to be the first fight the next day and then compete against me later.
Shit.
So I was like, I basically just ruined the show, like because like, and everyone was saying that like you ruined the show, but like they're taking the piss.
Yeah, it's like nothing you can do.
Yeah. I was like, it was just the way that it happened.
Yeah.
And yeah, like it was, that whole day was just weird.
Sure.
But like at the end of the day, like I'd won.
You did what you were aiming to do as well.
Yeah. Which was awesome. So and then it didn't really hit me until about 20 minutes after. I was like, fuck, I got to fight tomorrow.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck, I can't go have a beer or
I
can't do anything. And then I was like, I'm going to make weight tomorrow as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh shit, like I'm like, hopefully that Biscoff sandwich and that banana like isn't going to come back up and tip the scales. So I checked my weight and I was 3.5 kgs over.
Shit.
So yeah, we basically had to get out of the cage, get back to the hotel and jump straight back in the sauna. Saturday night.
Yeah.
And it was weird because like we had all those athletes that were in there on the Friday night to just me and my teammate being in the sauna on the Saturday because everyone had either lost or still had fights the next day and already made weight, so didn't pack on the food.
Yeah.
So it was just me and him in there, and I had to cut the 3.5 in there.
Yeah.
And it took me 2.5 hours.
Damn.
And if it wasn't for a case of my teammate being there, like I don't know how it would have went because like he didn't need to cut weight, but he stayed in there with me.
That's cool, man.
Which was sick, man.
Yeah.
Like, which was awesome. And he had also won the first day, as he does. Like he's next level.
This guy's just
this guy's a killer. And
Yeah.
he's a featherweight, so he's one below me.
Yeah.
And I was in the sauna cutting the weight, and I was looking at myself, and I was like, "This isn't healthy, man." Like I had just vein, like I was just had a vein in every aspect of my body.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I reckon if I keep cutting any more weight, like I might pass out.
Yeah.
I'd never seen my body look like that.
Damn.
And I just had veins coming out my stomach. Like it was like this is like serious, and especially having to cut the weight on day 2, like I would never have done it before, and like I didn't really look past day 1.
Sure, yeah. And like the amount of stress that you have to put your body through just for day 1, and then usually you'd go into a recovery cycle. Like after that, you're like, okay, we can recover now, but like you actually have to like go back into that stress again.
Put the body through a lot more stress,
Yeah.
and get ready to compete again. But I was just like, if I got to make the weight, as long as I make the weight, I'll be sweet.
Yeah.
And we made the weight. Before that, we left the sauna. Felt like shit. Put an ice cube in my mouth. And me and my teammate were sharing a bed.
Yeah,
it was mean. It was just boys vibes.
Yeah.
And we were just like looking at all our stories, because it was Saturday night as well, and everyone was like having fun, pissing up, and I was like, I can't even drink like a splidge of water.
Yeah.
And I'm just watching everyone have fun, but like everyone back home was like, because we were scheduled to fight on UFC Fight Pass,
right?
Which was like a huge platform for fighters like us. So like having that excitement and nerves out the back as well, and like everyone back home was going to be streaming the next fight, was like, that was getting me through everything I was going through that night.
That's awesome.
And the shit thing was that we were staying at a hotel that like had a low-key casino in it.
Right.
So they were playing D&B for like 3 in the morning. And like we couldn't get an inch of sleep or anything like that, but we got through it.
Yeah.
We got through it. And made weight the next day. Honestly, after making weight, bro, I was so happy. Like, I was like, 3/4 of the leg of this trip's done. I've been chucked in the deep end a lot of times here. If I win this next fight, fuck, like, I've done something for myself that I never thought that I could have done.
Yeah.
By doing all this character building, by kind of overcoming everything that was like put in front of me at the time.
For sure.
Like other than like the fighting, like with the Uber driver and cutting all that weight and stuff like that, I was like, come on, like if I can just do this last bit of the mission, I'd feel unreal.
And what a story that is too.
And then made the weight, which was cool, and then got to go to the venue. Oh, and after making that weight, I was like, that was the time where it was like, I can eat everything now.
Yeah.
So making weight on that day was so much better than making weight on the Saturday, because I just got the Biscoff sandwich on the Saturday, but on the Sunday I had like 3 Biscoff sandwiches and had pancakes, like had everything to fuel my body, and my body was just loving it. Like my body was like, fuck man, you've just fucked me. Like I'm stoked that you actually care about me. And then ate the food, and then went to the venue, and I was just lucky enough that I got to watch the 2 boys fight.
Right. So the guy who, like the winner of that fight, is the person you end up fighting. Yeah.
And I watched them fight, and they had a really good scrap. And the Brisbane boy ended up beating the Tahitian boy in all 3 rounds. Yeah. So I was like, sweet, that's the dude I got. And he was actually a real nice guy.
Yeah.
Like we talked a bit of shit before the fights had started, before we even knew we were fighting each other, and we were kind of hyping each other up, and we were like kind of the same dude.
Yeah.
So we had a bit of banter, and then it was just fell upon that we were going to be fighting each other, which was super cool. And I was like really fizzed to compete against him, because he was a brown belt in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And really, really sharp. And I was just kind of thinking of myself of executing a game plan within 3-4 hours and getting ready to finish off my mission.
Yeah, how good.
And we basically walked out, no music. It was an exhausting day, because everything was really delayed, so we didn't fight till about 5 o'clock.
Shit.
Yeah, so that whole weekend had just been like such a drag, and by the time it came to 5 o'clock on the Sunday, that was time to ready to finish off the week. And I was already like 4 or 5 coffees deep. Yeah, I'd been chilling in the sun. Like my body was pretty exhausted, but like I said, like this is the mission. Yeah, like, this is what's got to happen. So we rolled out. I rolled out first again. He rolled out second, and basically I was looking at him across the cage, thinking like, you're not going to take my happiness away from me. Yeah, you're not gonna you're not going to take away what I would do anything for. So we ended up having a real boring fight, but I won. I just held position. I wrestled him. I was dominant over all 3 rounds. I won all 3 rounds, but I just did what I needed to do. I held him down, took him down. There wasn't a lot of excitement during the fight, but I controlled it well enough
Yeah.
to know that I was the better martial artist on the day.
Yeah.
And then got the win, and I was just over the moon.
That's
like,
sick, man.
Over the moon. Like, got the gold medal at the Oceanias, and
Yeah.
kind of strive for something that I was always on the edge of knowing if I was going to do it or not.
Yeah.
And all of that emotion had just built up and kind of hit me at once, and it was quite overwhelming.
It's such a cool comeback story. Like, it's just everything, because I think we talked about it in the first one, where like people only see the fight. They don't see like the motivations behind you wanting to take the fight, or even like the smaller things, like having to travel to the fight, having to like get warmed up for the fight, the cut you have to go through. But then another thing is that you spoke about was the boring side of the fight, and this is something that drives me crazy, is when people who don't fight say that was a boring fight, like, oh, he should have done this, should have done that. But then what you said was, I just did what I had to do to win.
Yep.
Like, as a martial artist and understanding the sport, can you just like touch on that, because you probably get frustrated by it a lot too?
Well, yeah, because it's like everyone kind of like thinks you go out there, throw a punch, and knock them out.
Yeah.
Like, there's the technical side of the sport, especially when everyone's so well equipped. Like, you kind of where to get the job done, or where you can like be better than who you're competing against in the fight, and do a better job and what they're weaker at. But I didn't really. Well, I kind of knew about him. I kind of didn't, but he'd had a lot of fights. I think he had about 15 or 16 fights.
Shit.
And I kind of seen him compete before, and he beat the guy the way that I usually, or like the way that I compete.
Yeah.
So it was basically going to be like, his strength against my strength. I'm going to try to do what he does to people to him. And I knew I was stronger than him. So, like I said, like, I knew if I kind of wrestled him, took him down, and just played my game and played it boring,
Yeah.
that I was going to win. But a lot of people did say, like, it was a boring fight, but I didn't say it was a boring fight, but like, they were like, you did what you needed to do. And like, I was kind of more stoked about that than anything, because like you said, I proved to myself on that day that I was like an all-rounder martial artist. Like, I could take a fight somewhere and know that was going to work for me and get the win.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the casuals, like, it is shit when like they're like, bro, why don't you just hit him with the 1-2? Why do you have to take him down like 5 times? And it was just like, well, like, if I just hit him with the 1-2, then like, I'm open to getting hit with the 1-2 as well.
Sure.
But if I could just take him down and just like hold him there and just pound him, I know that I'm not putting the fight in 50-50 mode. Like, I'm doing my strength, and I'm doing what I need to do to win. And like, if he capitalizes on that and he like sweeps me or does whatever, then like, I'll reevaluate from there. But like,
Yeah.
At the moment in time, like, I knew what I was going to do was going to work.
Yeah, that's awesome. So now you've become a champion.
Yep.
Like, you get a gold medal. You get like you've just gone overseas. So this is in terms of like your prep. You prepped to have a fight at home as well, but your last 2 fights leading up to this point had been international flights. Like, you went to Dubai, then went to Brisbane, and then after that, like, do you come back and then you say to yourself like, okay, I need a bit of time, or I need to take a home fight, or like what? Because this is still really quick, like, between each one. So
this is only a couple months.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, this is just real recently.
Yeah.
So I got home and I was stoked, because I was like, I fought twice in 2 days, so like, that's 2 fights to the record.
Yeah.
Which brings me to 8-1 now.
Right. So, oh man, so you
8 wins with 1 loss.
So this will be your 10th coming up this Friday.
This will be my 10th fight together.
Yeah, 10th fight.
Hopefully 9th win.
Yeah.
But yeah, this will be my 10th fight on Friday night. And as soon as I got back from Brisbane, I took a week off. I had a few beers with the boys and was like, fuck, I'm ready to get back in.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't take much damage. I didn't. I just wanted to get the ball rolling.
Awesome, man.
And basically jumped into this fight coming up on Friday, and I was scheduled to fight an opponent from Christchurch, and he had pulled out on me,
Right.
Which I was super gutted about, because I know what that's like.
Yeah.
That happened to me a couple months ago, and he pulled out on, what was it, Sunday night.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck, like, I'm not going to get a fight, and then I was like, that's kind of cool. Like, I probably do need to take a little bit of a break here.
Sure.
There's some days that my body's just not feeling great, and got a call about a day later, and they were like, "We got you another one." I was like, "Fucking sweet!" Then, like, you know, I'm game. Like, I've done the training for it. Like, I've done everything I needed to do. So, yeah, and I got offered a kickboxer who's had a lot of experience in kickboxing.
Sure.
And he's a very, very game opponent.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see him on Friday night.
That's awesome, bro. That's so awesome.
I can't wait to see him on Friday night.
Yeah.
It's gonna be cool. It's my first fight back in New Zealand.
Yeah.
First fight back in Dunedin, and I just can't wait to hear the crowd go for me this time, and you know, not go for the other guy, or it be mutual, because having the crowd behind you's it's cool. It's cool having all that support fighting in Dunedin, because I know I'm not going to be fighting in Dunedin for, you know, all my life.
Yeah.
So I've got to embrace it now and just kind of, you know, just acknowledge all the people that come, and just be grateful for all that support that's going to be coming for me.
Yeah, nice, man. And then, so, like, in terms of this week, so you're chilling this week, and that's why we thought, you know, we'll get it in so that we can actually get the understandings of leading into a fight. Because I've always talked to you, and we've talked after, like, I might be prepping for one in like a month or so, but like we're literally 48 hours ish out, and then, like, so what's this week actually look like? Because I think people listening can finally see, okay, when you watch the fight, this is actually what it's like coming into it. Because you've limited the amount that you've been drinking during this.
Yep.
And I was like, wait, what? It's that serious?
Yeah, like, because I was supposed to be fighting at 77, which is up a complete weight class for me.
Yeah.
And I've been told that my opponent walks around a lot lighter.
Sure.
My new opponent, and if we could meet at 75.
Right.
So I'm like, now I can't eat. Like, now I can't do it. Like, I've had to kind of schedule everything differently. So I have to start jumping in the sauna now. Like, if I had my same opponent, I wouldn't have to do anything.
Right.
I could probably eat Macca's tonight and still make weight on Friday.
Right.
Just because it was that much heavier than what I'm used to. But yeah, this guy was a little bit smaller, but that was just kind of the only opportunity I got to fight that night.
To get that fight, yeah.
And I wanted to fight that night because I had people coming, and I didn't want to disappoint them this time because they didn't get to see me compete last time. But yeah, so this week has just been boring, like so boring. Monday, wake up, and it's just like, I get to sleep in, don't get to train, and you get a little bit agitated when you're not cutting a lot of weight and you don't get to train because you're like, I just want to train.
Yeah.
So just slept in on Monday, then had a training session on Monday night, and then Tuesday, basically same thing, got to sleep in. I hate sleeping in,
right?
But I need to give my body rest.
Yeah.
And I kind of hate resting because I'm just a person that can't.
I
can't sit still, bro. I need to go.
Yeah.
I need to go. And then Tuesday night, did my last blowout training pads, which was good. Had a real good hit out, feeling really good, really agile, really fast, and then had a good sleep that night. But like minimal food, man.
Yeah.
Like I'm not eating any carbs at the moment.
Right.
Basically just chicken, bit of yogurt, and nuts.
Shit.
Which is all good.
Yeah.
And then what is it? Wednesday now. Yeah. Woke up this morning, same again, boring, just drinking heaps of coffee, sitting around.
Yeah.
And then chill tonight and just, soak up the good vibes, like soak up the people around you, soak up the people who make you happy.
Yeah.
Just do things that you don't usually do.
Yeah.
Because you don't really get that opportunity a lot. And going into fight week, it's like talking to people like yourself is just like, it's just cool. Like, it makes you happy. It gets you out there and it gets you talking, it gets you motivated and like, it's cool. And so tomorrow will look like tomorrow's good. I'm weighing in tomorrow. So
cool.
I'll wake up and basically kind of wait for weigh-ins, just kind of focus on myself and kind of as it gets closer, which it is now. So I'll start to kind of mentally dial in and kind of focus and kind of set up my game plan, kind of visualize myself being in there, visualize myself landing shots and doing everything I need to do, and then visualizing the win, visualizing me getting the win. Because if I don't have all this like visualization now, then like when it all happens or when it happens, it'll be overwhelming. Yeah, I don't want that to happen. So when the buzzer goes and we go touch gloves, like I want that to be comfortable.
That's awesome. Yeah, because that's what I wanted to get into was like the mentality part of it. Like the physical stuff, it seems like
it's all done.
And you've been doing it for so long that now you're just like, oh yeah, that feels right. But it's almost like you're going to go in there, and I remember like ages ago, back when Conor McGregor was like the thing, and like he used to be able to almost predict what was going to happen. Like he would break down pretty much second by second what he think might happen. So that's the types of things you're doing, so that when it is in there, you see things happening, you can be like, all right, I'll adjust to that, adjust to that, adjust to that. Is that what you're kind of doing?
Yeah, because it took me a while to kind of like to get that, because when you first go in there, you're like, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how to like overcome what's being thrown at you. You don't know how to change your game plan if things aren't going wrong. But like the kind of more fights you have, the more experience you do get.
Yeah.
And it's sick. Like every fight that I've had, I've gained a lot of XP from that. And I feel like now I can mentally get that, like overcome that barrier and get that visualization right, and kind of prepare for someone to try come knock me out.
Yeah, cool.
And I like that though, because like I get my walkout, I get to walk out, get to go in front of everyone, but at the same time I'm not skitzing out.
Yeah.
I'm not really that nervous. I'm ready to go in there and kind of plot everything out that I've been thinking for the last 2 days.
That's
and like
cool.
I just there's nothing more in life than I want to do than execute that.
Yeah.
And do that and win the fight and get my arm raised.
Man, that's so cool. That is so cool. And then in terms of like coaches or do you still have the same coach?
Yep, still got the same coach, and I'm grateful enough to have him down from, where is he? Auckland.
Right.
Because he bases himself up at City Kickboxing, which I was grateful enough to also have a couple training sessions there last week.
Yeah.
Got a little
That's
bit
like elite.
Yeah.
Stuff,
Oh,
yeah.
like there was everyone, like all the good athletes were around at that time, and like putting myself in the same room with those boys and like, you know, seeing what they're like. Even my coach, like he's like at the top of the level, like he's the best out there, and just being in the same room with those guys like kind of gave me the energy to be excited to compete. I was like, man, if I'm in the same room as these dudes and I'm training around these guys, then like I'm like, you know, what can stop me? I'm one of the best gyms in the world.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
Having that into my preparation for this fight, like, fuck, this is probably the fight I've been the most excited for.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I can't wait to go out there on Friday night and fight, man.
The
Like,
home
I'm
crowd.
so excited. Like, I couldn't wait for the days and the hours to keep going.
Yeah.
Until my name's announced and I can roll out there and do my thing.
That's awesome. And like I know you're focusing on this Friday, but like when people hear this, it'll be after, and like we'll probably be wondering, you know, what's next now, because I know that you wanted to get those 4 or 5 fights under your belt before the year's out.
Yep.
And then thinking, you know, this is the end of your amateur career, but the amateur part of your career. Yep. But then thinking about, you know, the next level and thinking about where you go. Like, is there any talks, any plans or thoughts around that?
I think after this fight goes down, I'll be fighting 2 more times
This year?
before the end of the year.
Far
Man.
out.
So that'll rack all my fights up to hopefully 6.
Yeah.
Which is a stupid year. Which is like, but like I've been lucky enough to not pick up any bad
Major
injuries,
yeah.
and I've been lucky enough to just been always to train and get ready for fights. So it's really been about luck of why I've had so many fights this year,
right.
And why I'm going to be fighting a lot this year, because the body's just, it's holding up on me.
Yep.
And I'm young. I've got to embrace that. And I've got to kind of fight every time I'm healthy.
Yep.
I can't sit back, because like I want to be the best I can be at the sport. And by doing that and staying active and staying ready for any opportunity that's going to present itself to you. And for the fight, 2 fights coming up, which is crazy, is the same format that they had in Brisbane. They're going to be having in Dunedin.
Right.
So they're going to have the Oceania champions again.
Yep.
In Dunedin at the Giga Centre on the 12th of November.
Cool.
So I'll fight in that. And I've got some different competition who are fighting in that. I've got a really next level guy that's just came back from travelling over in, I think he was like in Slovakia.
Sure.
And like he was the top lightweight before I started competing. So I really want to fight him.
Yeah.
And I think he may be at that tournament on the 12th of November. So after this fight, I'll literally put all my eggs into one basket to defending that Oceania status that I'd won and fight against this boy that I've been wanting to fight for so long.
Yeah.
And then basically after that, I'll reevaluate and maybe looking at pushing all my stuff to Auckland to kind of to be in that environment.
Take
and,
it to the next level.
And surround myself with the best, because like I felt like when I was up there and when I was with those boys, like this is where you need to be if you want to be the best to your ability.
Yep.
Just like being in a uni class or in a lab with like, you know, all the high level students. Like if you want to be like the best you want to be in your career, you got to be with the best.
Yeah.
So yeah, I might look at. I probably will look at moving my stuff up there and trying to give it a good crack and trying to take my career to another level by getting under some new training partners and some different looks and having a different lifestyle.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Because like, what a year this has been. Like to even have done the travel that you've done, and like the amount of fights that you're going to get even this Friday, and like the prep for different fights, that's still a whole heap.
Yeah, like this, and honestly, like I thought in January, I thought about the year that had just been, and I was like, that was such a good year. Like I fought 3 times, I'd won 3 times, and I was like, you know, what's this year going to bring? And so far this year has brung more than what last year has brung.
Absolutely.
And I just know if you stay committed and you stay on the grind and like you have your good days, you have your bad days, but like as long as you stay straight and stay clear-minded and look at the outcome about every situation, like, you know, you're going to do well. And that's what I've been doing with all these fights. Like I've been losing, I've been winning, but at the same time, like if I keep grinding and I keep doing what I need to do, you know, the treats, some would say, will come.
For sure. So. Yeah. And I like just listening to you and I know like it kind of roller coasted you, but losing, I think in Bahrain, like listening to how it changed you, I almost think it's like it was so necessary, man.
Bro, it was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah.
And going back to that time this year where I did lose and I did go through all of that stuff by losing, like that was the best thing that happened to me. Yeah. Even though I got whipped, I got beaten, and it took a toll on me at the same time. Like I bounced back from that, and I never wanted to feel that again. And having that in the back of my mind has kind of made me a better athlete, especially with the sport. And now I just can't wait to keep the ball rolling. And, you know, I'm going to go into this fight like I go into fights, which my mentality has changed, like win, lose, as long as I show up and bring the best version of myself. Win, lose, fucking sweet. It's all good. There's always going to be another day.
That's awesome, brother. And that's a really cool place to leave it there. So I think, well, if you do end up fighting again, and then like if you get 2, or even before you go to Auckland, man, we're going to have to get you
100%,
for another one, because man, it's I mean, we only had you on a couple of months ago, but your growth and your mentality and your approach to this whole fight game, even though it doesn't seem that long ago, like you've learned so much and you've done so much in that time. But I think it's rich insight for a lot of people to be hearing this, man. And it's always an honor. It's always a privilege to have a chat with you.
And I'm grateful for getting on it, bro. It's awesome.
No, it means a lot. Awesome, man. All the best for your fight this Friday, and we'll get everything out there to make sure that people can catch up with you.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Sweet. Cheers, bro.